When you buy a share of stock, you don't merely buy a trading ticket. You buy a piece of a real business. In theory, that makes you an owner, with the right to hire and fire management, to demand good stewardship of the company's cash, and to insist that the business be run in your interest. In practice, however, most shareholders behave like passive spectators. They buy, they hold, they hope, and they rarely exercise the ownership responsibilities that could keep managers honest. Graham argued, and history keeps proving him right, that this passivity is dangerous. It leaves control in the hands of managers who may prefer growth or empire building for their own prestige, or who may enrich themselves at shareholders' expense. The single effective remedy that often emerges is not mass shareholder activism, but takeovers. Outsiders who buy enough stock to seize control and put in new management. That is not a civic ideal, but it is a market discipline. It's also why persistent underperformance often attracts acquirers. If management can't generate reasonable results, someone else eventually will try to do it better. A big part of the struggle between shareholders and managers plays out over dividend policy. For decades, investors favored companies that paid generous cash dividends. Dividends were real, spendable income, and they constrained managers who might otherwise hoard or squander profits. Over time, though, the market began to admire growth more than cash. If a company can demonstrably earn more by reinvesting its profits than shareholders could earn on their own, then retaining earnings makes sense, and investors will accept a low or zero dividend. Graham's practical advice is simple and lasting. Shareholders should demand one of two things: either pay out a normal share of earnings, say roughly 2/3, or convincingly show that retained earnings are actually producing higher earnings per share. If management cannot demonstrate that reinvestment is creating real, measurable value, shareholders have every right to complain, vote, or sell.